Hello Ospreys, my name is Tony. Every week I scour the indie game website itch.io and pick 5 games to play. This week I decided to look at roguelikes. After playing through them, I'll tell you which games you'll enjoy and which you should avoid. This is Games Jam. Dentures has a good idea with a flawed execution. The idea of the game is that you have Tetris pieces that act as the dungeon floor, and your entire goal is to try to find the exit by using these floor pieces and random question marks on the floor to figure out where you are. I really like this idea as it's a fun mix-up on a puzzler and a dungeon crawler kind of game, but I think that there's some flaws that make it hard to recommend. Each floor has a hard edge where you can't place Tetris pieces, and sometimes you can't get to the exit without one specific piece due to the fact that you can't rotate them. And then you just run out of pieces and have to kill yourself in order to play another round. There's also these pills that give you some benefits or have downsides, which I like the idea of, but sometimes they can just kill you, which is just frustrating and not fun, and makes it so that the game, like, you could be in the middle of a really good run and then you just randomly die, and it's frustrating. I think these aspects, plus the relatively lacking combat of the game, makes it kind of unfun for me. I like the ideas, but I wouldn't recommend it. Octet is a poetry-based roguelike that has a wonderful concept. I've never seen a game focused around making poetry before. I think there's a few flaws though that makes the game tough to play and tough to recommend. I think the main gameplay loop, which is going into dreams and fighting to get words, isn't sufficient currently. You're only ever in the dreams for 30 seconds at a time, and due to how quickly you die, it feels really frustrating. I think the lack of knowing the words is good, but I don't understand how the combat works, because there's capital letters that seem to do more damage, but because you just run into people, there's no real strategy to doing combat. It's basically just, do you avoid this enemy or do you not? And even then, it's very hard to avoid enemies because of how quickly they all move, and we all move in the same pace, so it's personally really frustrating to try and figure out how to make it work. It feels random when you're going to live and when you're going to die, which isn't great. I really wish that the actual dungeon went on a lot longer, because right now I can only really explore 1 or 2 rooms. This one has a lot of potential, but I'm not sure it's worth your time. If there's any game you should play this week, it's Dungeons Death Ball. This game is so much fun that I really want to keep playing over and over again. The concept is simple. You gotta get to the end of the field, preferably quick, and with the ball, which can be passed or thrown to damage enemies. The game does this concept well though, especially with the 2.5D graphics and the really interesting audience in the background. I feel like there's so much strategy here that I didn't even get the chance to get into with my brief time with this game. I seriously feel like this concept could warrant a more polished sequel. Just stop watching right now and buy this game. Right now. Do it. Enter the Chronosphere is basically super hot, but top-down and roguelike. I really like the simple graphics and the quick gameplay, but what I don't like is the movement method. You move by clicking your mouse in the direction you want to move, and then that it'll take you as far as you can move there. I wish it went with a standard WASD system rather than a click system, because as it stands, misclicking might accidentally move you into the enemy that you were trying to shoot at, which isn't great for being precise and delicate in a game that calls for it like this, where every time you move costs time. But overall, I think the game is super polished and super fun, and I think that it's definitely worth your time. for this game, and you should give it a lot of praise. Star Guy 4 takes the combat that was an octet and makes it actually strategic and fun. I found the gun as an interesting way to make combat strategic. Also, adding the damage indicators makes the combat make more sense, as you can actually see what's happening and understand how much damage is being taken, rather than in octet where I couldn't really tell how much damage was going on between fights. Plus, the rounds tend to last longer, so you actually feel like every round counts as a time, and it feels like an actual battle rather than just randomly shooting at a dartboard to see what sticks. I think this game is worth at least a few plays, if not a whole lot. I really could play this game for a long time. Hey, thanks for watching, Ospreys. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Instagram at UNF Spinnaker TV. Remember to stay safe and wear your mask.